What's that little doohickey over there? What is that?
This is Astromech Droid.
Oh, the red?
Yeah.
It's a telescope.
Oh, man. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can see the moon.
Well, I mean, I can see the moon too. I just go outside like, yeah, there it is, man.
Welcome, folks. Welcome to the room upstairs. You are tuned in to the best group of Oklahomans since Loki season 2.
Yep.
Braxton?
Huh?
It's Broxton.
Broxton.
Yeah. You get it. Welcome, guys.
Someone got it.
This is the room upstairs. My name is Bird. I'm here with my host, like always.
The tall being with the other guys too.
Mephisjoe.
Yeah, we have a special guest. We wanted him here for Loki season 2 finale because
We use our made-up names.
Okay. It's Hayden Evans. That's
yeah, a lot of people don't know, but he was actually the creator of Loki season 2, which is why we wanted him here, right?
Head writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Les Sylvie. I heard a lot of that from first season, and so I was like, all right, Les Sylvie.
At least that's why we asked you to come.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Last week,
I do write them a lot of emails. I don't know if they ever read them.
That's why if you notice and see it, because he's not good with the typos. In season 2, they didn't call her Sylvia; they call her Sylvia.
No one cares. She's just a side character.
It's not the Sylvie show. It's Loki.
She literally ruined everything. Like, it's fine.
she literally did, yeah. But anyway, this is Hayden. He's actually just a buddy from. He's actually one of my first buddies when I came here.
Yeah.
When I first moved out here to Oklahoma, and so we've got him on.
yeah,
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
long-time friend of the podcast.
Oh yes,
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, just remember when you met him, he was like 12.
Yeah.
He was.
I was like,
Yep. He still had the facial hair.
yeah, it's like right out of the womb, man. I was ready to blend in.
Yeah, but it's good to have him here. He's going to talk movies with us, talk composers with us, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
So
Business first.
business first. Let's do it. Follow us on our socials. Find us the Room Upstairs podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And if you happen to be watching, we're on YouTube also. If you're just listening, we're on YouTube also.
Yep.
So find us there. Main thing we want you guys to do, though, is comment. And then maybe you'll come on the podcast also.
Like, it took 2 comments. That's all. It only took 2 comments to be like,
That was
hey,
it.
man, would you like to be on?
Yeah.
Of course.
But again, it's because he's our buddy.
Yeah.
So
You just have to become our friend, and then you can get on the podcast.
That's right. We're open to everybody. And everybody's a special guest here.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah.
I feel so honored.
So yes, follow us, comment, join in on the conversations. We love that. There we go. That's our business.
Yeah. All right. Conan update.
Okay. Are you a fan of Conan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Do you guys read Savage Avengers?
No. I don't read comics.
Oh, he's like on the team, man. It's like him, Elektra, Venom. Like, yeah.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, he's on a team, yeah.
Wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the Conan update, guys. No movie yet. But
no movie yet.
He's
but
in the Avengers.
Yeah, he's an Avenger now. So.
yeah, see?
Secret Wars. They're just gonna bring him in for that and be like, he's an Avenger.
That would be awesome. I would be all back in Marvel if you bring Conan into this whole thing.
This is weird. I don't know. Maybe this makes me weird. Like I think it's really interesting the weird stuff they're doing because like they also did like Avengers like was it 1000 or 3000 or whatever,
Oh, yeah,
and it was. They had
It
like
was
a
like
Ghost
Odin
Rider that was
and-
riding a mammoth.
Yeah, it was like
Oh, yeah.
Odin and,
Star- yeah.
3000 BC.
Starbrand and
the old-
Odin was one.
yeah, the old Phoenix.
It's like a prehistoric.
I don't care about
Avengers.
most of the mainline
Weird.
stuff they're doing, but like the weird like
the spinoffs.
Yeah,
those
that's
things are fun.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. But again, I don't do the comic books. That's just me. I don't have anything against them.
Yeah.
he never learned to read.
I just do the movies. So anyway, that's our Conan update. No movie yet, but he's in the Avengers.
Yeah.
And if you remember last week, as far as I know, his action figures still are on sale.
Oh, there you go. Go find them. Where were they at?
Those ones were on BigBadToyStore.com.
There you go. Go find those Conan action figures.
Yeah.
They had that cool one where he's like painted black.
Uh huh.
Yeah, that was one of them. Yeah, it was cool.
All right. Cool.
All right. Well, composer battle time.
Okay. go ahead and explain that to the people that may not know what the
right.
composer battle is.
So every episode, we have a bracket-style tournament where we take two things. Our current theme is composers of movies and shows and video games and such.
How did we pick the composers?
I do, because I'm in charge of this. I'm the composer guy.
Yeah,
apparently.
So we started off with composers, but we've got other things.
Yeah, we'll get
But the
to
composers battle is going to go on for a while longer.
Yeah.
So Mozart?
Fortunately, no. I said movies.
Was he in a lot of movies?
Probably.
There have been several Mozart movies.
Yeah, I was going to say he was in the Mozart movie at least.
That's right, yeah. Wolfgang?
Yeah.
Cool. You should have been in there.
Wasn't that John Malkovich?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
We still didn't watch that movie either.
Okay.
Which one?
This movie.
Oh, that's right. We haven't watched it.
Almost an Angel.
We need to take care of that.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of time next week.
Yeah. One day.
All right, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. So today we will be battling John Paesano versus Howard Shore in one I'm personally excited about. I like both of these a lot.
Yeah.
So let's get on with it.
Okay. And last week, if you missed it, it was John Williams versus Joe Hisaishi, and John Williams ended up winning that battle. So he moved on the bracket.
Barely.
There was an asterisk next to that.
There was an asterisk. It was a landslide.
It was.
It was a landslide victory for sure.
But it was a close landslide.
But
I don't know if that's a thing, but it was a close
it was
It was two landslides racing against each other.
it was just a lot of bias
Yeah.
that we can't help. And we decided that if we have a wild card later on in the bracket, that we'll throw Joe Hisaishi back in there. So, but this battle, who wants to go first with Howard Shore versus John Paesano? Give a rundown of some of the stuff that they've done.
All right, so Howard Shore is mostly known for the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogies and a bunch of other stuff that I did have written down, but I think I deleted it accidentally.
I actually have John Paesano's stuff pulled up,
okay.
but Howard Shore has a lot.
Yes, he has way more than that.
Yeah,
but that's what he's most famous
I know he did The Game. He did a movie called Existence. He did...
Legend of Nim. I saw
yeah,
that on
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what else, but he's got a big resume.
Yeah.
And John Paesano has, I think, 64 credits to his name, which is
Not a whole lot compared to
way smaller.
Yeah.
But
There have definitely been composers with less.
yeah,
Yeah.
Toby. Yeah,
Good
yeah,
old
for
Toby.
sure. But his resume is strong.
Yes.
So, all right, who wants to go first? Our guest?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So for me, as much as I love Daredevil, the Daredevil series, I don't love it because of the music, you know? And so I will say Howard Shore has been on multiple playlists in my life. And so it was a no-brainer for me. I did go back and listen to the other guy, you know?
Yeah.
Just to kind of give him a shot, you know? But man, I mean, with Howard Shore, those songs for me get very emotional.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're picturing the movies like Battle of Eleanor Fields, you know, and I was talking to Joe about that yesterday. And so, I mean, Howard Shore, man, for me, it's just kind of
Easy.
like an obvious, just real easy for me.
All right. Well, one for Howard Shore.
Yeah, I'll go next.
All right.
As much as I do like and appreciate Super Mario's Buddy, right? I also am going Howard Shore because listen, when I'm walking down the street, if there were two TVs playing, and one was playing the Daredevil theme song and the other was playing Lord of the Rings, anything from Lord of the Rings, which one would I recognize?
Oh yeah.
Right. And it's not, and you know, we've talked about this before, like really good music helps maintain the feel, right? And so I'm not saying that Paesano's music takes you out of the feel or anything like that. Just
Howard Shore puts you into
not
it.
just put you into it, but I mean, think about how different that movie would be without those like iconic songs. Like it really elevated everything.
It would just be a lot of Anya.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
one more vote as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And I got one more, like, this may or may not be super important, but, like, you know, he's also got things like That Thing You Do and...
wait, Howard Shore did That
High
Thing You
Fidelity.
Do?
Yeah.
I didn't know
And
that.
so what I'm saying is, like, we're not...
I don't remember seeing that on his list.
You can't just pigeonhole him into one...
Yeah.
Like, he sounds like Lord of the Rings. Like, no,
No,
man.
he's
Like,
got a lot of.
I know,
Yeah.
but that's why the main ones that you talk about when you talk about Howard Shore is that
Oh, for sure.
is Lord of the Rings, which I mean, just that movie is like a whole career's worth of music. So it makes sense. But I'm saying, like, then that would just be like he's got just one credit that you're really talking about. When you compare him to like a John Williams, where you can go, oh, he's got all these. John Paesano, I guess, doesn't really have that either.
But Shore does though. Like you can look.
He
like,
does.
Before Lord of the Rings. Like man, that thing you do like. I mean, that's a music movie.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal, right?
Yeah, but what you remember from there is that main song.
Sure.
I don't. I've never seen that movie. So
Oh, dude. You got to watch that movie. That's a good movie.
Because you were like 3 when it came out.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Okay, well, but you go Howard Shore. Howard Shore, you want to go next or me?
I can go next.
Okay.
So, I am a criminal because I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings movies. I read the books and I listened to all the music, but I haven't seen the movies. That said, the music is incredible.
You disgust me.
Yes, I'm aware, but they're 3-hour-long movies, and I don't want to put that energy in for a 9-hour-long movie altogether.
I think you would appreciate it, especially having read the books, because especially the first movie, the way that they cut, like, so they changed the way that it ends, the first book, and I feel it fits way better than even how he ended it in the book. The movie like is like, okay, the way that he ended the book doesn't have like a really good. There's no like closure, no like this is the next step, and the movie corrects that.
Nice.
Right. I don't know why my apologies, but
It's fine,
if you do have 3-hour blocks,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a long movie, but it's not like it's longer than Endgame or something like that,
Yeah.
you know? So it's doable.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor's another long one, yeah. That's a double cassette, VHS.
I will say
Wasn't it a double DVD too?
I don't remember
That
that.
was a
It may have
big
been.
movie. Man.
I will say it's my go-to. Like when I had COVID, like early on during that. I mean, I just one after the other would put the extended Blu-rays on, and like, I mean, it's just a lot, like hours of content, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, he word for word knows all the commentary.
it's real great stuff.
I bet it is, though. I bet that
it
commentary
is.
is really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna vote Howard Shore also,
Okay.
but I do want to say, in defense of John Paesano, he is another one of my favorite composers.
Yep.
Not like
Yeah, he's
top
on the
of top.
list, which
Yeah.
you're the one that
Yeah,
composed the
anybody
list.
that we mentioned is one of your favorite
Yeah,
composers.
that's true. That's true. But this is like top 5 probably.
Okay.
Oh, Mario's gonna be sad.
He's not top 5 if he's not moving on.
Oh well.
Well, if you're not voting for him, at least.
No, favorite is different from objectively best, and that's what
Okay.
I'm trying to.
That's
vote.
Okay.
saying a lot of Howard Shore though, because you love Daredevil.
That's
so
true.
Like,
I
I
love
feel like
Daredevil.
that is saying a lot for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And I love the music for the 3 Spider-Man video games. The new Kraven theme, incredible. I already have it on multiple playlists. The Venom theme that they use, which is like a villainous rendition of the Spider-Man theme, great. The entire Miles Morales soundtrack, which combines the original themes from the first game with like more techno and hip-hop beats. It's chef's kiss. It's
But it's
beautiful.
no Pelennor Fields. You know?
It's-
Right,
no.
yeah, yet not good enough to move on to get your vote anyway. So it doesn't matter. My vote.
It does, man.
It matters,
It's
it
not
matters
gonna.
in here.
It's not gonna affect
All
the
the
outcome.
fans could relate with you, so we don't know.
Maybe, but if they all relate with you, they're gonna relate with me also.
Okay.
Because I'm also going Howard Shore.
Man,
Hey!
another landslide.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
and again, I'm like him. I haven't watched the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit movies. I'm not going to.
Man, what do you guys do here?
Yeah, not watch. We watched Daredevil,
Okay.
Yeah,
and then vote opposite.
The sad part is, and like it's not even on the docket. Like we're gonna watch Almost an Angel. Like, people are like, what is Almost an Angel? You're gonna watch a movie starring Paul Hogan that's not Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but not Lord of the Rings.
Oh, man.
yeah, that's what we
That's
do
the room
around here.
upstairs.
Okay. All right.
Once they do the remake of the Lord of the Rings, then we'll watch it and we'll battle them out.
Oh no.
But up until that point, it's not in the plans
I
to
hope
watch.
they don't
So we're just-
remake it.
So we're just waiting on was it Amazon or whatever?
Oh yeah,
probably.
well the series. Yeah,
Well,
I
I
heard
because I'm sure they're gonna make.
a movie out of that.
Well, no, it'll probably be a series, I guess.
I don't know.
We'll see.
That series didn't do very well. Did you watch it?
So I liked it for what it was, but there's no way it beats out the content that already existed. For me.
Yeah.
Like it was like
It wasn't worth all that money they put into it.
It gave me and my wife something fun to watch that wasn't like
a superhero or something.
How can I put this? Like it wasn't Game of Thrones. Like you don't have to like argue for why you watch it. You know, it was like it was a clean fantasy series that wasn't Wheel of Time that I could watch that didn't make me mad, and so I enjoyed it.
And then when you finish the last episode, you're like, I'm never gonna watch this again.
Yeah. It just I've never watched it again.
Yeah.
So but it was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah. It was.
How do you feel though about the way that they just fundamentally changed who characters are?
Oh, I don't like it. I treat it as like that's
Just
its own
whatever.
thing. Yeah.
This is the what if of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I treat everything like that, and people get mad because they're like, "No, Hayden, it fits," and I'm like, "I'm ignoring you."
Right. You
It's
kind
its
of have
own
to
thing.
do that sometimes on a lot of stuff. That's how you enjoy like what's out there.
Yeah.
Because if you take it too serious,
Oh man.
that's when
I used to like when the Marvel movies were first coming out. Man, I took it so seriously, and I'd be like, I would argue with people and be like, and then I was like, you know what? Like, why? This is not the
Different
616.
It's
Yeah,
no
this is
way
not the
to
Marvel
live.
universe. I know. Yeah.
There's no way to live.
Yeah, you became wiser.
Yeah. You know,
you know,
my
but-
blood pressure thanks me for it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I'm fine with not reading comic books, especially doing a movie podcast.
There's a lot of good ones out there, though.
I'm sure there are. And I'm
He
not.
can't say he hasn't read because he recently read.
Well, I read The Last Ronin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, but you got it for me, and it was all in one, and I just read through the whole thing. It wasn't like I was getting issues and issues and issues.
So that's what it is. We have to buy him comics.
You get me the novels.
for him
Just
to
that-
yeah.
read it.
Let me find a Superior Spider-Man omnibus. Then
Ooh, Superior Spider-Man was.
that's my
Yeah,
favorite.
that's what I'm saying.
That's my
Oh,
favorite
so
comic
much
book
fun.
story.
I'm
They're
not-
bringing it back. They're bringing it back.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, they're bringing it back.
You know
Yeah,
anything
see,
about
I
Superior Spider-Man?
No.
So Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock.
I
was
just
in a
know the
fight
name.
with- Doc Ock was in a fight with Spider-Man and was like gonna die or something.
Oh, is that where Doc Ock turns
And he
into Spider-Man?
Transferred his
Swap
consciousness
souls, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
into Spider-Man's body, and so he's the one running the show, and he's like, "This is amazing."
So then Peter dies because he was in Doc Ock's body. And so then it's like there's like a point where like Peter's haunting him for a while. So while he's going around doing Spider-Man stuff, trying to prove that he's better.
But because
Like-
he's Doc
It's like
Ock,
a-
he has no problem being like vicious. Like,
Yeah.
he's beating people near to death.
Oh, he polices like
Yeah,
he
like
builds
punches.
a bunch of drones and polices the whole city.
Yeah.
Like he fights the Avengers at one point just to prove that like he doesn't need them.
Yeah, he punches Scorpion's
Well,
jaw off. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
Ooh.
yeah.
That sounds like I'm gonna watch the movie when it comes out.
Hey, Spider-Verse, we may see him.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I love the Spider-Verse stuff because you're always just like looking for Spider-Man that
Yeah.
like probably aren't as popular as Miles.
Oh,
but,
right,
like,
right.
You know, you're always looking for them.
Oh, and Spider-Verse had plenty of those.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was. Well,
All right.
Are we done with the battle? Then?
Congratulations, Howard
Shore.
We all go
Yeah.
Howard Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hail
Next-
the Victorious Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
All
a line from the movie that you've never watched.
Yeah. I don't understand it, but I do understand the music. The music is great.
Yeah.
It's good.
Also, he did Miss Doubtfire. Awesome.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. That's what you should have really hammered on.
Yeah. That's what brought it home for me. Okay, so Howard Shore is gonna move on in
John
the
Williams,
composer
bro.
battle.
Yeah.
All right.
My job's done. That was my whole.
That's
premise
it.
of Coming on to make sure he won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you did it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Door's right
All
there.
right, guys.
So next week or 2 weeks, whenever it comes out.
Yeah. Next battle.
It will be Tyler Bates versus Bernard Herrmann.
Okay. Another clash of styles.
Yeah.
That's what we've been having. I mean, that's all these last two have been is clash of styles, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, go do your homework, guys, and then you guys can cast in your vote too. Maybe sway us some if you get your votes in before we do our recordings.
Oh man, Tyler Bates did the 2011 Conan.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a negative or a
Yeah,
positive.
I will hold my comments. But Bernard, he did some old movies like that too.
Maybe.
I don't remember what it was, but it would be funny if he did
Bates
the old
is gonna
Conan.
have he's gonna have some real some inspection, I think. on
Yeah.
their part.
All right.
Hey, rip
Well,
the
that's-
new one, man.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing that battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So again, what are the names?
Bernard Herrmann versus Tyler Bates.
All right, next time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and move on to our main event then, right? We're all dressed up for it.
Dude, let's do it, man.
Well, we do have a few tiny little things.
Oh,
It
yes.
shouldn't take super long.
Yeah.
There were a few trailers that dropped.
Mhm.
Just want to mention them real quick. The Garfield movie,
Yeah.
which looks awful.
It looks horrendous.
Chris Pratt is trying to be everything, man.
Yeah.
Like I love
Because he doesn't try.
No.
He's
It's
just his it's just his voice. He's not trying to be
Didn't
Garfield.
we already get a Garfield movie?
Well, we had the Bill Murray ones that were live
Which
action.
I thought was really weird because Garfield, the guy that voiced him, was the same guy
It voices Ghostbusters.
that voiced the
character.
Ghostbusters
Yeah.
cartoon based on Bill
yeah.
Murray.
Yeah.
So then he already
That is a
sounds
weird
like Bill Murray,
transition.
and then they get Bill Murray to do like it was.
Well,
like
that's why that made
weird,
sense,
It was
right?
a weird
And
like
then his great grandson is Chris Pratt, and so then
Are
it's
you
like
serious?
no, it
Oh,
doesn't make sense that Chris Pratt is Garfield.
you know what? I bet you they were thinking they were like, you know what? Every time this guy voices something, it's a major success.
oh yeah.
People were like, a movie about Legos is never gonna work.
Here we are.
Yeah.
An animated movie about Mario is never gonna work.
Mhm.
Here we are, right?
Right.
Like you just
Right.
he voices something and it's
Yeah.
a major success.
I don't know if that's going to be the case this time, even though my little one does want to watch it. She's like, I want to watch that one.
You know, you
So,
have no taste.
We'll be going out to watch it, but
See, I'm curating my daughters. Like she'll be like, "Oh, let's watch this," and I'm like, "No,
It's not worth your time. Yeah,
How was Moving Castle?
yeah, we have watched that. She
Yeah.
likes it, so
it's good. It's
well,
good.
that's Garfield with Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Watch the trailer and be horrified like we were. What other one?
All right. What if season 2?
Oh yeah.
that one looked really good.
That
Yeah.
was I'm just excited for the Christmas episode. Really, like the rest of it looked good too, but Christmas episode. It's a Die Hard parody. Yeah.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
I
coming
like-
around to what if.
I liked What If.
Yeah.
Like it was like really fresh concept, and like how we talk about how our arguments always like, well, that doesn't have to fit in, you know. So it's like it's okay to like it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And for me, that's what the whole show is, right? It's
Yeah.
just like it's What If, and so every episode was just fun. And then when they actually started fitting in together and like leading into like the end of it, I was like, I was very impressed because
Yeah.
you didn't assume that.
Right.
And the zombie episode alone, like I was just like,
For me, one of the highlights was like the really silly one, like Thor. where
Thor,
he's, like,
that's
having
one of
that
my
party.
favorites. Yeah.
It's so silly, but it's. I mean, like when I was
works.
watching, it, I was like, I can't complain about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with this
Yeah.
episode.
I like the zombie one, and then Hank Pym going crazy. And
Oh,
Oh,
that's a
that-
good
that was
episode.
being
wild.
an
Yeah.
assassin.
That
I was
was
like,
wild.
oh man.
Actually,
you know,
getting Hank Pym Yellow Jacket
Yeah.
was just
Michael Douglas.
me
The
so
idea
happy.
that he's a villain, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
He's a good villain.
Yeah, he's great.
He,
Like,
he
creepy.
always had that ability.
Mhm.
Yeah. So no, What If, man?
Yeah. Season 2 coming up.
Yeah, looks good. And the black sheep of these, Madam Web.
Oh
We
yeah.
talked about that last time.
I finally watched the preview. I can't. I'm not.
It
I'm
looks
sorry.
like trash.
It does.
This one also looks horrendous.
And they're doing that thing where they like kind of give you just enough to show you that like, hey, all these people are like actually from the Spider-Man mythos,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, it just looks like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be with it, man.
Well, okay, so I love Spider-Verse,
Mm-hmm.
but not this.
Like,
Spider-Verse.
Madam Web,
You know, like
Madam Web hasn't been relevant since the 1990s.
Yeah.
But relevance is not that big of a thing because we've had a lot of irrelevant characters show up in Marvel that were like, oh yeah, I like them.
The Guardians.
So that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but the Guardians had a renaissance in the comics, like that exact group.
Right, but
So,
the
like-
Renaissance could be the movie.
Yeah, but the hard part is like unless they do something drastic and go way off script, and clearly they're going to because she's not an old blind woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like as soon as I saw it was not an old blind woman, I was like, maybe they'll make changes and it'll work. So I'll give you it could work, but they need to veer
I'm
away.
not saying it's gonna work.
If they're gonna
Bird, we
veer,
know you love this movie, and we want it to work so much.
if they're gonna detour, they need to detour really hard because if they try to please the fans by making it authentic, like there was never anything about Madam Web
Yeah.
that was appealing, or
Yeah.
you know, like nobody's. Oh man, my favorite comic ever was that issue where Madam Web shows up. And, like, that's
Yeah.
if there is someone, I apologize. I'm not trying to hurt
So
your
many
feelings.
hate messages after this.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is one, they cast Dakota Johnson as the main character,
Yeah,
which
50 Shades of Web. Is
Yeah.
that what It was one of the working titles.
She's like one of the blandest actresses.
She is.
This is the first
but
time
she's
I've
got-
ever watched a trailer and thought, this is bad acting, man.
Well, that's the
The
other
line
thing.
delivery was so weird.
That was the other thing, is that acting just looked really bad.
Yeah.
I can forgive any kind of costume, effects. I can forgive that stuff if the story is fine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
Well,
we
we
won't
grew
know
up in the
story.
'90s. Like we got to
Exactly.
watch movies where, and we'll talk about this when we're doing the Spider-Man stuff. Like they were still doing puppetry, Like,
Yeah.
So I can forgive a lot.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, man, that acting looked.
it looked bad.
He killed my mother when we were in the Amazon jungle studying spiders.
Yeah. I feel like
Such a weird line.
I feel like the only way it could fit with anything and actually be like acceptable is if it's just a one-off movie and it's all used to just start branching in all the different Spider-Verse properties. Like the fact that there's like a rumor that Andrew Garfield is in the Venomverse, and we might get something like that. Like that's the only way I could like it, is if it ends with like how Iron Man ended with this, which is like, hey, you're part of a bigger universe, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, and then we never have to go back to that.
Yeah.
But if they're like, hey man, Madam Web tube's coming out, it's like, oh, we're still doing this. Like that's when I'll be like, please stop.
Yeah.
Like
I like the idea of like a horror movie Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like he's like a kind of Michael Myers kind of character.
Yeah.
This seems to be what they're doing with what's his name? I can't remember the
Ezekiel?
character. Yeah. It doesn't look good, but I like that concept.
Yeah.
My question is, right? Because I feel like based on Morbius and Craven, like they're like trying to build a Sinister Six, right? Like, is Madam Web part of that?
Right.
Like, what is happening? What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all questions. And
it just
my
doesn't
personal-
make sense.
My personal theory is that this evil Spider-Man dude is gonna survive, and then your Sinister Six is gonna be your Superior Six, and then they're good guys now.
Even better, right? We do build to a Sinister Six. Like Spider-Man's like facing them, and she just shows up behind him, and he's like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" I'm Madam Web.
Yeah, I'm important. Remember me? No.
yeah.
No, we don't.
I can see the future. And then she gets hit in the face with something.
Well, they do that in the trailer. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh,
Okay.
man.
it's not how it works.
This is comedy now. Like
Yeah.
this is comedy now.
it didn't look good. Not a good first trailer, but go watch it if you want, and let us know what you guys think of these
Yeah,
trailers.
I think I heard our daughters, like one's 5, one's 4, make that joke out there. Like, your daughter was like, "I can see the future," and my daughter threw something. I was like, "Great, Madam Web's got writing that out 4 and 5
Already has a fan base.
Yeah. All right. Was there any other trailers? you wanna talk about?
As far as I know, that's it.
Gremlins. Did you guys know about this?
Oh, the Mogwai thing.
Yeah, the secret of the Mogwai.
for Max.
What? Oh yeah.
So it's one of those things where I do remember hearing about it, but it's like, I don't know, like you just assume it was a dream or something. 'Cause like, why would they make it animated? And then next thing you know, you're like looking at it, you're like, that was real.
It was real.
Yeah, we're getting
This came out in May.
Yeah.
I barely seen it last night or the night before.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
and this was on HBO Max too. It's not like it was this small channel somewhere. HBO Max did an animated Gremlins. It's basically like an origin story, but kind of like a reboot, really.
Yeah.
here's what I will say for them. Between Gremlins 1 and Gremlins 2, you got a very high, like a huge threshold for what you can get away with, Because like nobody's expecting you to be as good as Gremlins 1.
Uh-huh.
But hopefully you're not as bad as Gremlins 2.
It's true.
Yeah, I see that a lot of people want a Gremlins 3, which was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever wanted a Gremlins 3, but I mean, I'm fine with them doing the cartoon.
Yeah.
I want to watch it, but it was just very weird that there was no promotion for this.
Like I said, it's
Yeah.
one of those things where you almost convince yourself
that is not
dreamed
even
that.
real. Yeah.
And then here you are, like,
It exists.
there it is.
You
We're
start
about
telling
to
you're
do
like,
this.
do I have a feeling?
Yeah. I'm like Autumn. Is it? She's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even more so for me because I started watching the first episode
Yeah.
and then I fell asleep.
So you guys should watch it. HBO Max.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, anyway, I just
Yeah.
wanted to throw that in there. I thought
Okay.
that was very interesting.
To the main event now?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's
Okay, we're all dressed up for it.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I actually wore my Spider-Man Vans.
Yeah.
I got my socks.
Yeah. I have my Spider-Man 2099 socks on right
Everyone
now.
put their feet up.
I'm good.
We don't bend that way.
Not anymore, huh?
No, I'm not as limber as Peter Parker. So
Cool. Well, then let's go ahead and get into the main battle with Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire versus the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let's go down with the tale of the tape. So, Spider-Man 2 came out in 2004, rated PG-13, and it's a runtime of 2 hours 7 minutes. Directed by Sam Raimi. Stars, of course, Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, and Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Music was done by Danny Elfman, again, right? Because he did the first one. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out in 2014.
I forgot to mention Bruce Campbell's in it.
Bruce Campbell is in it, yeah. He's not starring, though.
No.
I was just mentioning the
It's a
stars.
very memorable scene, though.
Oh, he's great. He's great. So Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out 10 years later, 2014, also rated PG-13. And it's a little bit longer at 2 hours, 22 minutes. Directed by Mark Webhead. Stars Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, and Jamie Foxx as Electro. And then the music was done by the, what do they call themselves? The Superior Six?
The
Magnificent Six.
and Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. You want
Well,
to start?
I have categories, so
Okay.
let's start there.
You want to do some pros and cons first? Like just stuff that may not be on the categories?
Yeah, alright, so I have a little speech real quick
Okay.
about Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, I think-
Amazing Spider-Man?
Yes,
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, but very specifically this movie.
All right.
And we have to
Um,
remember that this came out, like, you were younger when this came out, right?
Yeah, so
So
that's
you
what my
have more of a
speech
connection to
That's
this
what my
one.
speech is
Okay,
about.
go ahead.
Is with every other movie we've watched, really, I feel like I've been able to judge it somewhat fairly. This is the very first movie that I have actual nostalgia for. I remember when this came out. I was so excited for this movie. Watching it for the first time was such an amazing experience. So it's really hard for me to take that away from this, and I'm doing my best here.
How old were you? Like 5?
Something like that, yeah. This is the first, I think this is like, no, I remember the first Amazing Spider-Man coming out.
Yeah,
But that
I'd say
one I
that's
was
the reason
like-
he was excited about too, because he
Yeah, it's
He
in
had
the
seen the
first,
first
one.
one, yeah.
In the second one, I was like, yes, this is it. It looks good. I love Electro.
As far as his life is concerned, Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he is my childhood Spider-Man. So that's really hard for me.
Okay.
With that said, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is also the only movie I can think of that is worse than the sum of its parts.
oh man.
We'll explain
You know
that
what?
a little later, right?
Yeah. I think there are some highlights. I remember, like, so when I was doing my prep, right, I was like, there's some good things about this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be enough for it to overcome the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2, but they are there.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of individual things in the movie that work really well, but it's not coherent together. So much of the movie does not make sense when you blend it together, and that's what hurts it.
I'm
the
sure. I
most
think there's
part.
a reason for that. But
Yeah.
So going through categories will be interesting because
Yeah.
'cause you can kind of
point-wise,
isolate. Yeah.
point-wise, they can get more points.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say that I feel like we're gonna have another Judge Dredd situation on our hands,
Yeah.
where the end result will be the movie that we don't necessarily want to watch, but it's like, but on paper,
Right.
I think it's the better Spider-Man story, but
Right.
and so
Yeah. Okay, well, let's... was there anything else?
No, it was just that.
Okay.
Just
well,
want to add that little
He said
prefix.
And then he just paused for like.
Pause for a full 2 minutes. You didn't see that because I edited it out. But
okay, it's so quick, yeah.
All right, well, then let's get into the categories.
Yeah.
Right?
So first is pretty simple. Which was the better Peter Parker? Not Spider-Man, but Peter Parker.
Okay, we're differentiating.
Okay, we are differentiating. And I feel like it's an important distinction. I'm glad that you did that. Because I feel the better Peter Parker is Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Because everything that makes Peter Parker, like the no luck, you're just like, man, this dude just cannot catch a break.
The Charlie Brown.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire has.
Yeah,
In
the
spades.
entire movie when he's just trying to get food or a drink, he gets it and it's empty. It's such a great running joke throughout the entire thing.
The hard part is, and I wanted to give lots of points to Garfield because Garfield's Peter Parker is way more empathetic. Like he thinks about other people way more.
Yeah.
But when you read the comics, that's just not Peter Parker.
Yeah, no.
Right? That's not true to who his character is. Like he is very self-aware, like self-absorbed, and not in a negative way. He's one of those people where like it's like a reverse arrogance, right? Like things have gone wrong for him so long that he doesn't have the ability to see past his experience and to see other people. And I thought, and it was one of the things I was like, I appreciate the take or the direction they went with Garfield's Peter Parker, because he is aware of other people. Like he comes to see Harry when he finds out his dad dies because he's like, hey man, I've been through this. I know what this is like. Yeah. But it's just not Peter Parker. Yeah. Right? Like there's a reason Peter Parker has a hard time hanging on to girlfriends. Yeah. Right? And it's not because he's thinking about them too much or thinking about the promise that he made to their dad too much. It's because he is so self-absorbed and like I said, not in a super negative way, but like they don't really get his time. They don't get the best of him. And the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man like gives you that, like, I wanted to be there, but I also have this responsibility, and it meant that I was chasing guys down the street who were shooting guns at me. Yeah. And so I wasn't able to make it to your play, right? Yeah. So my point, I give the point to Maguire.
So I have to kind of agree with Joe, and for me, it's just the time jump. Mm-hmm. So Spider-Man 1, Tobey's origin, all that. It's a 2-year jump to him being like the adult Peter Parker, and I feel like that's really good because like he does do it well. Of like, I mean, the guy's delivering pizzas, right? Yeah. Like he's been Spider-Man for 2 years, but clearly he can't have like a real job. And right. So sorry if you deliver pizzas, but yeah, where Andrew Garfield, there's a 3-month jump from Amazing to Amazing 2, and so clearly there's not going to be like a dramatic change there, and so like I do like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man as far as being the down on your luck adult. Yeah, there was points in the movie that I didn't really like it, and that could be again a bias. It was really hard for me to not like just like I don't know, like it's hard to say. Like I do like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, whether it's comic book accurate or not. I do like that, but if we're going off of who's the better Peter, I think Tobey is
he's the Peter.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go with Tobey's
I think
Peter.
It's 4 points.
Okay.
Tobey.
No.
I think that's pretty. I think it's a pretty universal thought.
He's like, that's Peter Parker, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my back.
That part was really good, and I like that they brought that back in Homecoming or Far From Home, whatever it was.
He's got the back pain still.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm guessing the next category is going to be his best Spider-Man.
It is.
Let's start on that.
Okay.
All right, it's Andrew Garfield. I really enjoy the fact that, well, one, this is a quick note that I just remembered about Peter Parker. For some reason, Andrew Garfield's is he has ADHD. He's constantly moving. There's that weird scene when he's talking to Harry. He says, "That's the question," and he goes over the fence for some reason.
Is he gonna jump into the river?
Yeah, like why did he do that?
Yeah,
like just
it's such an awkward. It's slow too. He's not jumping over it. He's like constantly moving when he's Peter Parker.
I think they were trying to do the awkward Peter with those kind of things, but it didn't come out like Tobey awkward. It came out.
Well, it's the difference between like a teenage Peter versus the adult Peter. And
but also, he's like. You can do what you want to make Andrew Garfield like nerdy, but that dude's just cool, man.
Yeah.
He like him skateboarding down the hallway, the first one and all this stuff, and it's like, this is the guy that gets bullied?
Right.
No, those guys bullied me in school. I'm supposed to feel bad for
him. Right. Yeah, no, definitely he had a little cool factor, I know.
Yeah. But I think that's what works about his Spider-Man.
Right.
Is it translates over to that, and I think that's more what they casted him for, is the actual Spider-Man role, which he doesn't get a whole lot of in the first movie. I think that's why the second one works better in that respect, is like they were able to do that more, because he's already Spider-Man.
Okay.
And then just the way they have him like not be able to really talk or anything when he's Peter Parker. And they do this with Tobey Maguire's also, I noticed, like every time he has problems, he suits up and goes fights crime. It's like his therapy, really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be Spider-Man. Escape. Yeah, it's his confidence. Yeah. He gets his confidence from being
Peter's
Spider-Man.
life is miserable, but Spider-Man's
everyone likes Spider-Man. Yeah, so that's what he does. He goes and beats Spider-Man whenever he's not feeling great. And
Right.
they do that with Andrew too.
Which is always why I was talking about the arrogance thing, which is always why J. Jonah Jameson's a problem for him, right?
Yeah.
Because if everybody likes Spider-Man, but you got that one guy who's not just vocal but like has a public platform, right? And it's hard for him to overcome that.
Yeah, we'll talk about Jonah Jameson in a minute. At least I will, but
Yeah.
go ahead and finish.
No, that's really it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going with Andrew.
With Andrew. I also go with Andrew.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I gotta go with Andrew as well. And I don't know what categories you have, but like just the swinging movement of him, like it looked more believable.
Yeah.
And again, this is like
That's
you
a
kind of talked
10-year
about
difference, though.
Yeah, you kind of talked about it earlier about the difference between like what we had access to technology-wise back in the day versus now. But I still have to go off of that. Like there was points where Toby just webs straight up and swings, and it's like, what building's up there? Like you know, where Andrew, you're seeing a lot of like sideways, like pivoting around, kind of like you see more.
I see the angles, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, I think Andrew's web swinging, specifically in this movie, is the best Spider-Man web swinging in any live-action movie. I think even the MCU has not done it as well as.
And
I agree.
And another reason, and I don't know what categories we're doing. I counted quips while watching the movie. So Tobey Maguire had a whopping 2 quips in the whole movie.
Nice.
And I actually made a note that Doc Ock's character had more quips than him.
Interesting.
And I stopped counting Andrew's after 8.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
I think that's a win.
again, more Spider-Man of like, I'm making light of whatever situation I'm in. I feel like it's Andrew.
The only thing I didn't like about that stuff, and that's not necessarily the movie's fault, it's because he's wearing a mask. It feels like it's dubbed over, which obviously it is.
Yeah.
So like you see the movement, but like it feels like it's somebody else talking. So that's the only reason that didn't work for me. But
whereas in the Maguire one, you can like hear the muffled when he's talking. But so for me, I actually 100% agree with the quip thing. Like one of the things that makes Spider-Man so fun and exciting and like to read is that he's always talking trash, like, and he does it on purpose, like, because a lot of the guys he's fighting are like Doc Ock, where they're super intelligent, or even worse, flip it, right? Well, let's go Rhino at the beginning. Maybe they're not super intelligent, and so him talking trash makes them so angry that they make mistakes, or that they get reckless.
Like,
sorry, and I'm just saying, like, so that's it's a tool in his tool belt that he uses, and Andrew Garfield did it so much better than Tobey Maguire. And I agree, the web swinging was way better, looked better, and there's a technology thing for sure, but just on technical merit, I think it just looked better, and so he gets my vote as well.
Like literally in an interview, Sam Raimi just said, well, maybe there's a helicopter there. Like that was his argument. I'm like, so there's just billions of helicopters always around, you know? And it's like, okay, Sam, okay.
Thanks.
Well, that's like, but I remember there was a Spider-Man game that came out way back in the day where you could like go around the city. And you would be like at the top of the skyscrapers and still be like webbing, swinging,
Yeah.
Like,
and
so
and
grabbing clouds.
And that was one thing I liked in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is that he went to the top of the building, at the final battle, and he's webbing, but it's just
he's missing him. Yeah, and like in the first
he's not grabbing onto anything.
And like in the first one, him having to use the cranes and everything.
That was good.
It's Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, so we're tied up 4-4.
Yeah. I like with the swinging how it combines a sort of realistic, heavy feel to him. Like, this is a guy getting thrown across the city by his own webs. Yeah. But it still combines that with like a lot of his comic poses.
Yeah,
like, there are multiple parts where he quickly does like.
And to add on to what you said earlier, right? Like his web swinging also is more reminiscent of his ADHD.
Yeah.
Right? Because he moves around and is the whole time. Yeah.
He looks like a spider when he's moving around.
But like, a lot of Toby's was like, I mean, he just is there swinging.
Yeah.
But like Andrew Garfield is constantly shifting and pivoting and spinning while he's swinging and stuff. And
Yep.
So.
All right, this one. Better of the 2 spider suits.
Okay.
Because they are very distinct, both of them, I think.
I'm a draw on this one. I've always been a draw on the suits for the most part because I can't tell them apart. I mean, aside from maybe the Tom Holland one because he's got the smaller.
These two things apart.
Yeah, dude. Like, which one is which right here? You tell me.
Honestly, from the back, you can't tell.
Which one's which? So obviously, like Toby's, he's got like the thicker like web lines,
Yep.
so you can tell the difference. Tom Holland has a smaller spider, but other than that, like I don't know, I can't really tell the difference.
Okay.
So I'm a draw on this.
So do you give points or just no points at all?
I just went
I give
for
them
one
each
in
a point. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't have a problem with the suits. I like all the suits.
Yeah.
They're not that different to me. Where I go like, ooh, that's ugly. Yeah.
So for me, I can tell like a slight difference, like with the eyes and everything, and so like, and there's a huge difference between the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit versus 2.
Yeah.
And
the
so
first one's like got the yellow eyes and
I
See, like I didn't even notice. So the suits are different from movie to movie.
where the Tobey Maguire one, I mean, literally does not change till he gets the symbiote in the third one. Like it's just very consistent.
Yeah.
And then literally the symbiote is just a black version of the one.
Yeah. And so for me, I gotta go Andrew on this one, just because like I do like the white of his eyes really pops with the contrast of his colors, and like it's I don't know. It's
because he used the sunglasses in the first one, didn't he?
yeah, because he literally made his suit.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to talk about made
that,
suits, like I like his made suit versus the Tom Holland made suit with just the goggles and like the hoodie and stuff. Like I really do like the Andrew suit designs in both films. But I gotta go Andrew on this one.
Yeah.
I hear you. Like it's hard to tell a difference.
Yeah.
What he's saying is if he bumped into like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man in an alley, he'd be like, "Your eyes are so
Yeah,
white."
like I would recognize it. I'd be like, "Oh, hey, it's you."
No, I would be the elevator guy with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And,
Like, oh, neat suit.
yeah, it's cool suit. Make it yourself. All right. That would be me.
Great scene.
It's just a guy in a suit cosplay.
Yeah.
All right, TallBeing, what do you think?
All right, I think also Andrew Garfield. I really like the shimmery red that it has. That's very distinct. That looks different, I think, from all the other ones, which have
As
a
opposed
fatter
to
red.
the red.
It's like kind of metallic looking.
Hey man, we get it. You can't tell. We can tell.
Yeah.
Look, dude, we're all wearing red shirts, man. That's all. I mean,
Come on, man.
They can't tell.
We're wearing the same shirt.
We're not in color. They can't tell.
that's true. See, that's what I'm seeing.
Oh,
Maybe I'm
you
colorblind.
can make a pretty decent assumption though, based on the fact that we're all wearing Spider-Man shirts, that the shirts are going to be red.
Look, dude, if somebody's
symbiote
explaining this to somebody else,
This is kind of a different red,
watch the podcast. It's the one where they're all wearing Spider-Man shirts.
Yeah.
Like that's what someone's gonna say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but half those shirts were blue.
Listen, but it's okay. It's okay.
All right, listen. This is. I mean, maybe this makes me. I mean, I am with Bird on this, right? Because even when you look at the comics, like, man, his costume, like,
It never
from his
changes.
first appearance,
Yeah.
in Amazing Fantasy to the first Spider-Man, his costume changed, like the symbol changed, like, and over the years, like depending on who's drawing him, like it changes a lot.
Yeah.
He'll have like he's got like spider armor. He's got. I mean, he's worn tons of different Spider-Man costumes at this point. And so at this point, I'm like, the costume I don't really think matters. Like, it's still the iconic Spider-Man costume.
Yeah. It's different.
It doesn't,
different styles.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Different
It doesn't
comics.
matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter what flavor it is. It's still Spider-Man. Right?
It's like Ditko versus McFarlane.
Yeah,
It's
so
still both Spider-Man.
I'm gonna give it to both. So, but Andrew Garfield is in the lead by 2 right now.
So common thread is old guys see it the same. Younger guys
Yeah.
are like, no, there's a distinct difference
if
with
you
the
look
suits.
in that scene where he's jumping off, like on the right lower part of his bottom,
Right, yeah.
There's like a
It's
little
very
rip.
much this kid's music today. Like, it's all the same.
That's
you know?
right,
It's-
man. That's right.
I'm loving this. I am loving
Yeah,
this so much.
the Andrew Garfield one, like on the hip, you can see the Sony
Yeah,
logo.
yeah,
You can see where he carries his phone. Where does he do it?
Nobody knows.
Hey, it's fine. Hey, I like that we're doing this. I like how we're not all in agreement, because I thought, we don't want to just like, oh, we all agree,
Right,
agree.
yeah.
right.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, getting to some other characters now.
Okay.
Who had the better Harry Osborn? I wasn't anticipating this going forward
I made notes on this
because
was
I
like,
forgot that Harry Osborn was in Amazing Spider-Man.
and that right there is why I got to give it to James
Franco.
Franco.
Yeah.
The fact that he was present, right?
Yeah.
They really showcased more of the relationship, not just we're gonna bring you in and then also take you out within one film. It's like,
Yeah.
no, like we had this Harry,
Yeah.
right? Dialogue wise, just like his lines, like I literally wrote just like lame, like or where was it at?
Lame
Somewhere.
Harry, right
Lame
there.
Harry, yeah. I gotta go James Franco on this one. I mean, like And
Give a point to that.
Yeah, because like his whole point is like
Yeah, I already gave it to him.
Okay.
Like he doesn't have to even be a villain in this movie. He just is Harry. Where the other guy, it's like, I mean, goodness gracious. James Franco in this one.
Yeah. I'm also gonna give it to James Franco. I just liked his character more.
Yeah.
He really felt like the son of Norman Osborn.
Yeah. All he has is Spider-Man.
Just all of his mannerisms felt like, oh yeah, this feels like someone that was raised by who Norman Osborn was in the first movie. Yeah. I don't know, something about it. And then I just like the idea of like, he takes over the company and he has no idea what he's doing. He's like, I'm gonna hire Otto. Oh, that didn't go well? Guess I'm ruined now. I'm gonna go get drunk and slap Peter at a party.
Yeah. All I have is Spider-Man. I love that line. You couldn't tell the difference, right?
Right, yeah, it was the same guy.
No, you can tell because the second one has a very awful emo kid haircut.
Yeah.
Oh,
He looks like he's cosplaying
And it's weird
Bully
because they talk
Maguire.
about him like, dude, the guys hold the blow dryers while I comb it. You did that yourself?
I don't
I mean,
like him.
he's obviously got some issues. Like they try to establish that when he goes to meet his dad, and he's like, "You left me and sent me to boarding school," and the dad's like, "You're horrible." He's a horrible dad.
Yeah. We got this cool disease that I'm just now telling
Right,
you.
that was a very weird scene.
Congratulations.
Because
You're gonna die.
Well, he starts off with like, man, this dad is a bad dad, right?
Yeah.
You know, I expected better of you, but you turned out to be a disappointment. But then he's like, but actually, I did it for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait, what am I feeling
And
right
then
now?
after that, it's like...
But that's the dad. That's a different thing.
But then after that, it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna die, and I didn't tell you about this at all, and I have no cure for you.
Yeah.
So once again,
Right.
horrible dad.
Yeah.
But again, good dad. Here's what I've been working on. Maybe you can do what I couldn't do.
I don't
It's
know.
just
I'm
good-
just
it's
saying. I
just
feel like
very
he should.
confusing.
Yeah. I feel
very-
like he should have told him. You know, like
No,
there's no
dude,
reason not to tell him.
Whereas
I agree.
like William Dafoe's character, it's a very, very natural, like, I care about you, but I'm going about it the wrong ways, kind of like dad-son relationship. And I know we don't really get to see a lot of Dafoe in this one, except the very end, which I made a note. But I mean, it just, everything about the Amazing Spider-Man's Harry was just like, why is this in the movie? Like,
Yeah.
Because they were trying to make a Sinister Six.
Yeah.
which I made a note of that.
So
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing with Amazing Spider-Man 2 is it felt like Amazing Spider-Man 2.5. Like they put a bunch of elements that should have been in 3 into the second one.
So
I think
it was the Book of Boba Fett.
yeah, more or less.
Amazing Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I think all of the Harry storyline, cut it out, put that in the third one.
Yeah.
That's where it should have been. You can set up Harry a little more in this one because there was no setup for him in the first one.
I feel like you just introduce him.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be the main protagonist or anything. He doesn't have to do like you could have done something else.
But they should be friends.
Yeah.
Not,
'cause-
oh, I haven't seen you in how many years? Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't...
Because in the first movie, he like was like, "Oh, Oscorp, this is a crazy organization. I definitely have no connections to this whatsoever. I definitely
You
don't
never
know the
hear
son
about
of the
this in New
founder."
York. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your vote goes to
You vote.
mine is
Okay, because here's why. Because I didn't like either of them.
no, they're
Right.
both. So here's
So like maybe you can convince me which one was a little bit
I like
better.
Franco.
than
all
the
right.
other one.
So mine
I
is gonna
thought
go.
Franco
Mine
was
is gonna go to Franco because we're talking about Harry Osborn. Like, and keep in mind, mine's my point of reference is always gonna be the comics that I read growing up or whatever. But Harry Osborn in the comics is like Franco. Like he's reckless. He has an addiction problem, right? And you get to see Franco start to build that, like getting drunk at the party and slapping Peter around. Like he's obsessive. Like he ruins the relationships that he's in. Similar to Harry, like they're kind of foils in that way. They ruin the relationships that they have because they're so focused on their own selves. He has a dad complex, and rightfully so, because his dad, like, we see in the first movie, he's like, he cares about him, but he thinks he's a disappointment and makes that clear to him.
Yeah.
And so now Harry has no clue how to run this company, and legitimately like puts his hopes in Otto to make him money, make him rich, and basically do the thing that his dad didn't do, right? Do the thing that he thinks is going to impress his dad. and now that that's gone, all he's got is avenging his dad who treated him like garbage.
Yeah.
The other guy comes in and he's like real smart and clever and has aside from finding out that he's got this disease that's going to kill him, has no real character development, no real like why attack Spider-Man? Like what's the purpose? Like what? What's the
He
goal?
wants his blood or something.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of connection
assumptions,
there.
You're making a leap when you have this corporation at your heels that you could definitely use to like where Harry in the Toby movie is like,
you killed my dad.
watched you leave the room where my dad died. Like this is your fault, and I'm gonna avenge that. Like I feel like as far as like, not only is he more in line with what you see in the comics, but character development wise, I feel like it's a no brainer.
Yeah.
Like they're just you can't just throw a dude into a movie and be like, hey, guess what? This guy has a lot of backstory that we didn't tell you about in the first movie, but it's here. But
He's
also
been abroad.
also he's the main bad guy, but also he's gonna try to build a team, or maybe the team will just appear because we have all these suits that are just hanging out in the background. Like,
Don't worry, we got Paul Giamatti. Don't worry.
It's all
take
good.
care
It's
of it all.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but that's what like they try to establish him in with that dad scene and the talk that he had with Peter when he's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you for 10 years. We've been best friends. We grew up together." Like they tried to establish him.
It just
not doesn't
enough.
work.
It's
Right,
not
right.
enough.
You have to make those leaps.
No,
So I get that.
It's
But I don't know that affects like the actual performance, which is what I'm thinking of. And maybe I should take that into account then as to how I will vote. But as far as the performance, I did not like Franco's performance as Harry. I thought he was bad. I thought his delivery was horrible. Like every time he would say something, I'd be like,
okay.
I just didn't. I didn't
I'm
believe
telling
him.
you, the scene where he like is drunk and slaps him at the party,
Uh-huh.
That's
good acting.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that was
see, I
good.
didn't even like that.
So you're gonna go
I didn't-
lame Harry Osborn?
But see, I didn't like his. So I like when he went evil. I think he does a good
So
evil.
you got to choose the lesser
Well,
of
see,
two
that's
evils.
different
Yeah.
because that's not Harry Osborn at that point. That's like a Green Goblin-esque
Right.
character. So like,
And I think so. Like how they probably got Andrew because he would be a good Spider-Man. I think they got this guy. I don't remember his name because he would be a good Goblin.
Okay.
I just call him Valerian.
yeah, but that's a good movie.
He was in that Josh Trank movie with Michael B. Jordan, and
He was also in Valerian.
I don't know that movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Well, the one I'm talking about is not.
Okay.
It could have been. It was pretty interesting, but
Yeah, Valerian was a flop, I'm pretty sure. But
oh, it was.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, I remember that coming out. But anyway, I don't know what I was saying.
that he was a
He
good,
was a good Green Goblin.
He was a good Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Yes, but I didn't like his everything else as being Harry. So that's why I'm like, I don't know which one's better. But you make a good argument for Franco, I
it's hard for
suppose,
me-
as
it's
far
hard
as the
for me
character as a
because,
whole.
in the first movie where they're having dinner together, and it's clear that something is going on. Like
Everyone's hiding something.
yeah.
On some level.
The hard part for me is I think what that came from is actually a scene that involves Harry in the comics. Harry finds out who Spider-Man is, and it actually leads to his death. And so it's like, Peter Parker is like walking up the stairs of his apartment, like to go talk to Mary Jane, and Harry, like with mask off, is on the Goblin Glider and just like floating outside the window, watching him. And Peter's aware he's there,
Yeah.
right? He's like trying not to look at him, but he's like following him around the building as he's going up these stairs. And then they have dinner together. Peter and Mary Jane, and Osborn, his lady, and he's like awful and being awful to his lady too, and Peter's like trying to pretend like I don't know what's going on, right? And then it ends up leading to him like having a change of heart, but it's like too late and he ends up dying. And so it's weird that they would do that dinner scene in the first movie and not give Franco's Osborn that intimate love, because they're friends.
Yeah.
And what better, like I'm just saying, like Xavier and Magneto, like close friends, like it makes their rivalry all that much better, right? And it makes it almost that much more dangerous.
Yeah.
If we could have had a moment like that for Franco, I think that it would have blown us out of the water, right? But like the hard part is like, because that other guy is the better actor.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt. Like even though he I don't think that he was a great Harry. I still think his acting was better, and I would watch him over Franco, honestly, any day of the week. But the question is, who's the better Harry?
Yeah. And one of my main reasons for not liking that.
Right, I was just thinking that, like, out of all the things, I was like, we're not going to spend 30 minutes on Harry Osborn, are we? Okay.
And we're not done yet.
We're not done. Okay.
So Franco's Harry. One of the main reasons I don't like him, aside from just the delivery of his lines and everything, because you're saying that they're friends, right? Peter and Harry are friends. When I feel like there could be some conversation there where, like, dude, it wasn't Spider-Man. It was like, let's just talk about this. Yeah. Maybe there's another option. And Peter just doesn't have those kind of conversations, which I get.
That's what I was talking about. Like, Peter, he's so self-absorbed. Like, he doesn't think about other people at all. Like, because he could have. I agree. Like,
a lot of the stuff could be.
When he breaks the barbed wire off of him, unmasked, and he's like, "You killed my dad." He just says, "We don't have time for this."
Yeah.
No, just say, "No, I didn't."
Yeah.
And we don't have time for this.
Your dad was the Green Goblin, bro.
Yeah, there's no correction. It's just like, all right, well, I gotta go save the world. It's like, no, say no.
Yeah,
it's so easy to say no.
That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh man.
Every time I see that, I was like, oh.
But is that a Harry problem or a Peter Parker needs to get his crap together problem?
I think it's both of them. You know.
Put both. No.
Yeah.
So where's your vote going?
No points.
No point. Okay. No.
Oh, wow,
man.
that was a long way to go for no points.
I
you could have just said no.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
He had to get there.
Right. Yeah. I did. I did have to get there
because we don't have time for this. Right?
All right. What's up next?
All right. The better love interest, MJ versus Gwen.
Okay,
Stacy.
I got this one.
Okay.
Easy.
All right.
Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's Gwen Stacy.
That's
Another
too
point
easy.
over here.
I mean, I love Emma Stone in whatever she does for the most part.
Gwen Stacy for life.
I also agree.
Yeah, my wife's obsessed with her Emma Stone and loves Gwen Stacy and Spider-Gwen, like all of that.
Yeah.
And so
Ghost Spider.
Yeah, this isn't just coming from a bias. Like watching Spider-Man 2, there's a very much a difference between Kristen Dunst's character in the second one versus the first one. First one, she is the girl next door. Yeah. This one, she's like sad and very cranky, and I'm like, there's points where I'm like, Toby, just be Spider-Man. Like, you don't need this, you know?
Yeah. Also, she's like suddenly a celebrity. Like,
yeah.
And I know, and Mary Jane is a model, and like she does all that stuff, but like,
she's very whiny. Yeah. Where Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy's very like, no, I'm gonna break up with you, and I'm gonna just keep trying to do my thing. I'm gonna leave the country and actually like have a do really great stuff for me.
Yeah.
Where Kristen Dunst is very much like, I can't keep doing this if you're not going to come to my shows. Like, I really need you on my show. Like, she's engaged, but she's like, I really want my high school buddy friend that we only became friends our last year of school.
I got to stop thinking about you.
Yeah.
And that's
Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. I think my main problem with it was all of Spider-Man 2 was, it's this constant battle of, will Peter and MJ get back together? Will they not? We don't know. It's back and forth constantly.
Which I didn't care about.
Yeah, I was constantly saying, no, don't get back together because I don't see any positive to it.
Right.
The movie never shows.
Toxic.
Yeah, right. The movie never shows a real only good scene between these two. It's like, this is what they could
Doc Ock
be.
and his wife had a healthier relationship.
Yes. They were beautiful together.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that scene in a second. That's next category. Don't worry.
Okay. It was unanimous.
Yeah,
it's Gwen Stacy.
So Drew has pulled ahead. He is ahead by 3 points.
He's right, Drew.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, Gwen Stacy's character was just so likable.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then rip away.
But I think it's because of Emma.
Although, can I say just real quick, and this is just an aside, Lego did her dirty.
All right, next one.
No context for that. You'll figure it out eventually.
Oh, Lego.
All right, it's villain time.
Okay.
Doc Ock versus Electro. Who's our better main?
Can I
villain?
go first?
Yeah,
please.
Doc Ock all the way.
All right.
You can say whatever you want. Like Electro, I after rewatching, I can appreciate him more. But I don't know if I appreciate him more because of the newer Far From Home or whatever it was called.
Oh yeah.
No Way Home.
I don't
No
know
Way
if No Way Home doesn't exist. I don't know if that appreciation still exists.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Doc Ock still is
Yeah.
a phenomenal villain. He is intelligent. He is sympathetic in a way that Electro just isn't. And he is able by himself to carry the menace, the threat, the story along in a way that Electro just couldn't. Right.
Yeah.
And so my vote easily goes to.
So I actually have a lot to say probably about this one.
All right.
Me too.
Yeah. So I feel like, again, answer first. It's Doc Ock for me. The reason for it is Amazing Spider-Man had to rely on multiple villain options, which I like the idea of the Sinister Six. And so I feel like it's always cool to watch Spider-Man taking on multiple things, right? I love that. But the fact that Doc Ock only had to be the only villain,
Yeah. And he's
and
still
then
able
still
to carry the
and then
entire
somehow is also the guy that saves the day at the end. And so I'm like, okay, so then it's like, I think Kristen Dunst is the real villain of Spider-Man 2, but Doc Ock is the best, and I just wrote Doc Ock is the best.
Yeah.
So Doc Ock's the best, and again, like what Joe said, a lot of this stuff, if it wasn't for No Way Home, we wouldn't really care. Like, I had no problems with Jamie Foxx being Electro. He was way more likable in No Way Home.
Right.
For me. Like, he had a bigger part, them having to work together, and the complexity of, like, him, like who do I trust here? Like, I just want to go home, but also, do I not want to go home at the end? Like, I just feel like this, like, the fact that Amazing Spider-Man 2, it wasn't like we got 3 villains. It was, we had to have 3 villains, and I don't like that. I like that Doc Ock was enough. I wanted more Doc Ock screen time. Like, there was points where I was like, where is he? And it's like, well, we got to show Toby and Kristen Dunst fighting, and I'm like, but where's Doc Ock at?
And I'll just add a little to that, like Electro, his power set, like already, like when I was reading him in the comics, I'm like, oh, you gotta be careful, man. That's pretty like the Doc Ock from that Spider-Man movie made me look at Doc Ock in the comics and go, oh, you gotta watch out for him, man.
Yeah.
Like, it made me appreciate that character more.
Yeah, Doc Ock, man.
Okay. One, I don't understand how Doc Ock can withstand punches from Spider-Man.
Canonically, he cannot.
And
that's
that's
why
the deal.
Superior Spider-Man happens.
That's why
he gets punched so many times that
but he does
his
in the
body
movie.
is breaking down.
Yeah,
now.
canonically, that's why the arms are such a menace, because it gives him the reach. Like, he's got to keep his body away from Spider-Man. Now, this is where we can go. This is not the 616. This is not the regular universe. Maybe that explosion or whatever, maybe absorbing some of the fusion made his body stronger. I don't have an answer.
They don't
for
explain
you.
it.
Yeah, and they, quite honestly, they don't need to, because it's not the 616 universe. This is a whole different.
I just always assumed he couldn't feel pain because, like, his brain's off, and so I always just assumed every time I watched it, like, he just can't feel.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's just how I.
It's an assumption, though.
Yeah,
but
I know,
so like,
it's
because kind of the same thing happens with the Green Goblin at the end in Amazing, where he's fighting Spider-Man and being able to take the punches, but you get a little bit of an explanation there.
It's
where,
like, oh, you have a suit that you can self-heal now,
right,
and you have
right.
Yeah.
So you at least get that. So that's the one thing about Doc Ock. Super intelligent dude, but when he goes to get Peter, he does the dumbest thing ever, not knowing that that's Spider-Man, and throws a car at him. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna throw this car through the window so I can get information from this regular boy.
Yeah, regular boy.
And then he gets the information, punches him into the wall.
Yeah.
As if that's not gonna break all a regular person's bones.
Yeah.
I say though, you got to take that with remember that because the inhibitor chip is thing, like, and they established it in the beginning. They're like, what? How do you stop the AI from controlling you? Well, this is why the inhibitor chips is blasted to bits. So he's not fully in control. Like, even though he's super intelligent, like those arms,
he still has rage.
Well, those arms are pushing him and making into making decisions that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he feels the pain because he doesn't, like, he's not controlling.
I think that if you're like, I need answers, like they give you the answer, right? And the hard part,
I don't accept that.
I'm not saying it's a good answer or even that those decisions make sense, But when you take that in consideration, like this is not a guy who's fully at the steering wheel, right? Like, and if he's not at the steering wheel, yeah, he's gonna make decisions that a super intelligent guy wouldn't, because he's got some AI that are basically still in its infancy, making decisions for him or pushing him to make those decisions.
Like No Way Home, we got to see him almost like a little different.
Yeah, and we didn't even need No Way Home to know this. They establish it in the beginning of the movie when they talk about, when they ask him, like, how do you keep the AI from taking over or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, I got this.
Yeah, and so we've established this is not a man who is at the wheel, right?
Sure.
And I think that it makes those decisions, like it makes his not being rational or doing things that that may not even be the most intelligent or whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm just saying, if it was just a regular person, I mean, he wouldn't have got the information he needed.
No.
That's all I'm saying. So Electro, I felt like he was actually the main villain of Amazing.
Yeah. Not Paul Giamatti's Rhino.
Not him, not Harry either.
Yeah,
I feel like they were obviously in there as villains, but Electro was the main driving villain of the movie. It was amazing when he went into the vat and then his teeth came together. Yeah. I mean, I should give points just for that.
It's like he became handsome. Like that's his power, is he became Jamie Foxx.
Yeah. So anyway, that being said, Doc Ock.
Okay. Man, I thought you were somehow going to bring it back to Rhino.
I knew he was going there.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm just going to say it's Doc Ock.
Okay.
It's Doc Ock, man. What else can I say? It's Doc Ock.
Say Doc Ock again, yeah.
You get a scene at the very beginning with him and his wife and Peter, and there's absolutely no like hints or foreshadowing that he is going to be the big villain. It's just a scene to establish who this guy is and why he's an actual good dude, which makes seeing his downfall even worse. I mean, it's such a good scene,
and he is the hero by the end of the movie. Like,
and so you get to see his return to that form at the very end, and it's really good.
And they do a really good job of establishing his arrogance. Because you can see, like, this is a guy like who is so arrogant. He got mad when Peter Parker, a student, asked him a question.
Yeah.
That kind of arrogance does lead to not actually accounting for everything, and that kind of arrogance does lead to an accident happening that's gonna cost your wife her life and set him on the path that he's on. You know.
And then even then, he's like, he blamed Spider-Man, which all Spider-Man did was pull some plugs out of a wall.
Right.
You know, and so it's like, Doc Ock, man.
This is kind of separate, but still Doc Ock centric. Apparently, when an octopus dies, or when you cut off a tentacle of an octopus, an actual octopus, it will continue to perform whatever action the brain last sent to it for like maybe even an hour at end, which is the theory as to why Doc Ock's arms want him to build the machine again. Is because whatever was broke, and that's the last thing they were doing, and so trying to complete that action. I just thought that was a cool, and thing.
So building on that, going back to what we were talking about with Bird, like his weird decisions, right? Mm-hmm. Like he goes to rob a bank.
Yeah,
like,
you could just stolen the stuff.
You could just steal the stuff to do it, but like that last command, coupled with the fact that he's not at the wheel.
Yeah, it's the arms.
Yeah, it's the arms, man. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just for the movie's sake. Is what it is. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Like, we need an action scene of him, like where you first see Doc Ock. Let's make him rob a bank.
We needed a reason to get Aunt May down to the bank.
And Power Set. I think Electro is awesome. Mm-hmm. But if we're going,
especially that last battle.
If we're just going based off of like acting and like stole the show kind of thing,
that is the actual story arc.
I gotta give it to Doc Ock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alfred Molina, man. I mean, and he was one of the best parts of the
new one.
The No Way Home or whatever. Yeah,
that movie's awesome.
My favorite superhero, like supervillain bank robbery, is from Steelheart. At the very beginning of that book,
that's a phenomenal.
What's his name shows up? I can't remember he like points at people and they die. That's his power. They just like turn to ash. But the entire opening scene of the book is him walking into this bank and explaining to everyone his shower thoughts, actually. And he's like, I could just go steal the stuff I want to steal, but instead I'm robbing a bank, which doesn't make sense. But I don't care about the money, and I don't care about the stuff.
It's
even
just that I can do it.
I can do it, and I want to make you guys afraid of me. And it's such a good scene because then Steelheart shows up and kills him, and is like, "No, I'm the ruler of the city now." And it's
and his teeth didn't have to be fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Doc Ock's teeth were fine.
Go read Steelheart if you like superheroes. It's the best superhero book.
Okay. Well, let's move on because we're running out of time.
This is not a Steelheart podcast.
Yeah, I know. Elektra's really cool, though. I like him, and I think his character works in a lot of ways. Anyway.
Yeah.
So now we're on to not characters anymore.
Okay.
This is which one had the better overall directing and camera work.
Okay.
Because I think both had better than I remembered it being. And both were more stylized than I remember them being.
It's definitely going to be preference. Sam Raimi, and I made notes about this, was his style was definitely comic book style.
Yeah.
The angles, where Doc Ock does show up at the restaurant after he throws the car at Peter and is like zooming in for every thump.
Every step, yeah.
So he's got all that going on, and a little campiness that's in the movies. If you go back to the first one where he catches the stuff, right? Like he's got that style going for him. Mark Webb's got the cool angles when he's swinging. Yeah. So it's definitely like, I just like this one better. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Sam Raimi. I like that better.
Okay. I'm also gonna go with Sam Raimi. I don't have anything against Mark Webb in his style. I just like Sam Raimi's. I specifically in this movie. I liked it a little less in the first one. I thought it was a little over the top in that one. I think it's more balanced in Spider-Man 2.
I think so too.
So
there's a lot of like long lingering shots that I didn't remember.
There was a
that are
lot.
just funny.
Very awkward.
They're only there to make the scene awkward or funny, and it's not like, oh, this isn't edited well. It's very obviously how it's meant to be, which I just like.
So there was a lot of points where Sam Raimi almost did nods to like his Evil Dead. Like the whole camera work going over the body and all slow, which is that's what he did following the car, which is one continuous shot.
That entire hospital scene.
Yeah. And then like the guy grabbing the chainsaw device to fight the arms. Like, and so like I do like that, but I'm gonna go with Mark Webb on this one just for like because I and again I keep bringing up the whole swinging, but like the movement and just watching how the world flows with Peter and Spider-Man. I really enjoy that, and that could just be a bias off of like, the PlayStation game and everything. Like I'm used to that now, but I do like Sam Raimi. I love Evil Dead. That's one of my top movies. But I gotta give it to Mark Webb on this one.
I'm glad you brought up the game because I think the game takes a lot of its. Like playing it, I realized a lot of the inspiration is coming from the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
That's what I was
like
saying.
The way he moves, the way the camera works,
it's
in all
preference.
of the scenes.
It's preference.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, you got to give credit to Mark Webb because I think because of that. Because I think that it did come from the movie for the games.
He influenced a lot.
It's exactly that reason. My vote goes to the Spider-Man 2 because of aside from the motion and the action scenes, like for the most part, Amazing Spider-Man 2, the directing is just there. It's kind of bland.
Yeah. The action scenes are where it stands out.
It is.
It's
right.
And
other scene.
He does. It's phenomenal, and he does a great job of it. But for me, that doesn't overcome Raimi, like putting Raimi in. Like it's his flair. Like you can tell that this was directed by Sam Raimi. It has all the Raimi flair. It does have the long Raimi shots on purpose, like to be funny, like to encapsulate those moments. And like the hospital scene, I think it demonstrates it the best. Like, because it is a nod to Evil Dead 2. Like, you get the chainsaw.
That scene is scary.
The way that the camera is from the angle of the arms moving. Like, that's some of the motion and stuff that he used in Evil Dead 2, and and so like there are other directors who do that. Like, you can tell it's their movie because of the direction. And so if we're looking at the better direction, I'm going to give it to Raimi because I feel like it has the Raimi flair. And he still gets a story across. It's directed. He's just a good director. Yeah. And I, as much as I appreciate and enjoy the all the action scenes and all that stuff, the rest of it just kind of, like I said, it's just there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I like it.
You go Raimi also?
Yeah, I went Raimi.
Okay.
I was the only one that went Mark Webb.
That's all right.
Fair.
That's all right. Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
All right.
You
Well,
lost, but
I lost. Yeah.
similar track here, and we are taking a cue from Mortal Kombat. We learned a lesson there.
okay.
And we have 2 action sequences categories. One for the spectacle of it, visually, which one looked better.
Okay.
One for emotionally, which one had it worked best with the story.
Yep.
So we're gonna start with visually.
Okay.
Which one had the better action sequences? Just on like, ooh, that's cool, that kind of level. It's Andrew Garfield.
Well, I mean, he just said the action sequences were great.
Yeah.
So I'm going Andrew Garfield also. Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Same.
So
Him versus Electro. Every scene is good.
that was a great battle. The Electro battle and even the Goblin battle at the end, both of them were really good, I thought.
Yeah.
How Zack Snyder overuses slow motion. I think Mark Webb used it perfectly in these, just at the right spots, just enough.
Just to showcase the spider sense and like how fast he can think. So like the whole scene
and his like movements to avoid. Yeah.
So like the whole scene where all those people are in like
The staircase.
and he's having to think super quick. Like no one else could have pulled that off except Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But then we have Spider-Man that's like, I can think that quick, but I also have to be that quick. And he's like, you have this feeling of like, he just makes it, makes it.
Yeah,
and like that, and that's all Spider-Man is he just makes it.
And the ingenuity of him, like he has the broken web shooter, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna hold it this specific way, so it shoots sideways.
Right.
And that's the intelligence of Spider-Man that I feel like, and I know we already talked about like Andrew is the better Spider-Man, but the intelligent aspect of him like using his brain to fight, where Toby's like, oh, this machine, I'm just gonna pull these plugs, and then like, oh, I'm gonna, it's like there's just points where I'm like, Toby, you've been doing this for 2 years, man, and he's like, well, I do a lot of plug pulling, and I can do it, and so like action wise, Andrew Garfield for me.
Okay. Did you vote?
Yeah, you got my vote too.
Okay.
It's unanimous.
Okay. So the other one then, the
emotionally,
I think that goes to Raimi, at least for me.
Okay.
I think he sets it up perfectly. A lot has to do with those long shots, that like just kind of awkward stuff that will lead into whatever it does. Yeah. One of my favorite ones is when Doc Ock goes to Harry and they make the deal like, all right, bring me Spider-Man, and then you get your trinanium, vibranium, unobtainium, or whatever it's called.
Whatever thing they made up for the same universe.
And then he leaves, and then Harry's like, but don't hurt Peter. You just whispered. That was so funny to me. And then it leads to that whole action part. So anyway, Sam Raimi for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it Mark Webb.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gwen Stacy death.
That was
that's
good.
An action scene. That's what I'm saying. Is very specifically action scenes. Which ones worked emotionally the best?
Yeah.
And I think that is a perfect encapsulation of like Spider-Man is trying to do all these different things at once, and because of that, it's not just him that suffers; it's the people around him.
It's like the first time you see him panicking, right? Because someone he knows is like their life's on the line. Yeah. Where most times,
never
like,
really happened before.
He can think fast because it's like he doesn't know these people. He's just Spider-Man has to save these people. Well, now it's Gwen. Yeah. And so he has this emotional like. All those other times, it's almost like, I can kind of fail, but whatever. This is the first time it's like, if I fail, this ruins my life. Yeah. And so I also have to go with Mark Webb, just because of the Gwen Stacy death. And Joe knows this story. So when this movie was in theaters, I took a girl to go watch it. So I thought it'd be a fun date, hey, whatever. I cried when Gwen Stacy died, and that girl didn't cry. And we never talked again. So it was definitely emotional for me. And so, I got to go Mark Webb on this one.
That is funny.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Mark Webb as well. And primarily because, and the other scenes definitely do well. But like the Gwen Stacy death, like when that web is coming down and he does the great use of the slow-mo. And the web also looks like a hand. Like you can see that he's like, and you can see like, that part was kind of silly, but like no, like he's everything in him.
Yeah, it's like, an extension.
It's an extension of himself. Is like reaching and trying and just coming up short, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Raimi does a great job, and he definitely the emotional beats are there. Yeah. but when we tie it to the action and how the action can continue the emotion, if it almost feels like there's action and then it stops and then we have the emotion.
Yeah.
Whereas the action is seamlessly blended with Webb. So
Yeah.
It didn't make me. I didn't cry watching Spider-Man 2. So
he just looked over and he was like, "You soulless."
I don't think I shed any tears, but
I did.
I mean,
Me and my wife both.
in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, the Amazing.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm talking about Spider-Man
when
2.
Doc Ock died, I was like,
Oh yeah, Spider-Man. No, I didn't.
When they got back, when Peter and MJ get back together, you
I was very
cried
frustrated.
of
Like
anger.
MJ comes back out and I was like, "Oh, she's still in this."
Oh, she made it.
So that scene is a super strong scene, but that's the only one for me that was like really stands out.
No, I was waiting for someone to. So
Him versus Rhino?
No. The beginning of the movie with the parents being on the plane and all the emotional intensity there, where they're like, "Oh man, they're dying!" Like his wife's dying and all this stuff. But even then, like her last dying breath is like, "No, like the computer, like we need Roosevelt," and so he's still trying to do that. It's like they know they're gonna die. But they're like,
and
we
even
have
past
to.
that, like he like is holding a gun and sees that his wife is gone, and he's like, "There's nothing left for me. Like the upload's done."
So he just
shoots
shoots
the
glass,
window.
yeah.
Like it pushes like the action and the emotion are tied together in a way that I don't think Raimi really gets.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that I just liked how the setup was before and after. For me, it felt like there was a setup before, then you have this cool action. And then, so for instance, when he does the train, right, and he stops the train, that's the action part, like the whole battle with Doc Ock on the train, and then he stops the train, right, that's the action. And then it goes into, like, where they catch him, and then, like, pass him over, and they're like, he's just a kid.
Which he does not look like a kid.
No,
I
he
made a
doesn't.
note of that. He's like, he's just the same age as my son. I was like, you guys look the same. I was like, you have your son at 5?
Right.
Like,
That was always a problem with the Tobey Spider-Man, but
he's a grown man.
yeah. But the scene for me worked as far as what they're saying and how it's portrayed, and they're like, "Don't worry, we won't tell anybody." Like, I love that. That was probably the closest I got to crying in that movie. Was like,
That's a good
Yeah,
scene.
but the hard part for me is like it is a different thing though. It's disconnected. Like we had the
it
action,
is.
and now we have this emotional beat,
Yeah.
and that's great. And there's nothing there's nothing wrong with doing that because you wanted to highlight that.
Yeah.
But like I think with Webb, like he can blend the two together seamlessly, so that the action is still going. He shoots out the window,
Right.
but you can still feel like, man, this guy has nothing. He sees that his wife is gone, the upload's done. We're doing that.
Yeah.
I see that. I totally see that.
And with that, the Amazing has pulled ahead by 3.
So, I do want to say a little bit of nostalgia did factor into mine. Because that final scene of him versus Rhino, when the kid goes up, which is a great scene on its own.
That was a good scene.
But
If you forget that that's Paul Giamatti in the scene.
But to 5-year-old me, it was like that's the first movie moment I can think of
where you pictured yourself in a movie?
Yeah.
No, my mind like expanded in that moment, and I was like, he's back. Spider-Man is like, to the kid me, it was a magical moment of Spider-Man is back. Like I felt like I was in that moment with
That's really
everyone
cool
else.
to hear. Like actually, because like watching that, I wasn't young enough to relate with the kid.
Yeah.
I was old enough to relate with Andrew, where it's like those times where you feel lost.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, they would want you to keep going. Like, and so it's funny that we both love that scene. Ignore Paul Giamatti. We both love
But
that
I was
scene.
saying what makes that scene so good for me is Paul Giamatti, because I can see myself in that Rhino suit, man.
But it was just funny how like that same scene, it was both important to us, but we viewed it from different
viewpoints. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because being like a dad, there's times where it's like, you know, like Piper's gonna look to me to be like, no, you still have to be this hero that I think you are.
Yeah.
And so like, oh yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it was a really good scene. But that goes back to how you were talking about Andrew being the empathetic Peter / Spider-Man, which I loved about him. There was a lot, even with Max, where he's like, "I need you, man. I need you."
Yeah.
And like he's just saying that to people, to everybody that he comes across. Hey, saves that kid
He's
from
being
getting
the
bullied.
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that about him.
Yeah, he's the best Spider-Man.
All right, so
We have
next,
one more category.
Here we go.
All
this
right.
is going to be a decision maker. What's the score? We're up by
3 for Amazing.
Ooh,
Okay.
this one's gonna be all right. So best of the scores, the music.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
It's in same thing with the whole Howard Shore thing. It's in multiple playlists. A lot of those songs were already on my iPod before. Like there's a couple of those songs where I'm like, oh yeah, like
I know this one.
yes. And so I think Spider-Man 1 had like that one song, like the Hero song or whatever, that's like overplayed now. It's kind of like a joke. But like Spider-Man 2, there wasn't like a whole lot, I feel like I feel like it's a no-brainer.
Some of that Dashboard Confessional song?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
dude, I did not realize that was Dashboard Confessional until we watched this.
Yeah,
we watched this. I was like, is that Dashboard Confessional?
Yeah. That was the only song from Spider-Man 2 that I was like, I have that.
Yeah.
But Amazing Spider-Man 2, it just had so many songs that I'm like, okay. Like, me and Peter would have the same music taste, and I was like, I kind of like that. and then when you actually break down the scores, like the Electro Suite and all of that, it's just oh man.
Electro theme is in my top 5 villain themes of all time. It
yes.
is so good. I love it
man.
so much.
Dig
Giving him a dubstep theme was genius. I was like, no way.
He's electric.
Yeah, of course you're gonna do that.
He's creating his own soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like,
I had to set nostalgia aside and really look at them. And I think the Amazing Spider-Man, not only does it work really well in the movie, but the score is just
It's
just better.
Zimmer.
So you go Amazing also?
Like, I love the Spider-Man 2 score also. I think both the Spider-Man theme and the Doc Ock theme are great. The Green Goblin theme gets brought back for the scene at the very end with Norman and Harry, which is also, I love that one too.
Avenge me.
Yeah, Avenge me.
Avenge me.
Yeah. Man, this is exactly like Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six, because you got Danny Elfman versus the 6 plus Hans. So very good comparison there. But Spider-Man always wins.
Okay,
So,
all right.
so I'm gonna go with Raimi, even though I do really like the Mark Webb stuff. I really like the scene where Peter and Gwen are talking after they haven't been talking for a while. She calls him up and they meet up at the park or whatever.
And it's kind of that slow song.
Yeah.
And he's like dodging the traffic, but not like he's not breaking eye contact.
Yeah, that whole part, and then it leads into them talking, and then they're like, nose to nose. And the music's still going, and then she's like, "I'm moving," and the music just stops.
Yeah.
I really like that part because that's
But you don't like it enough to pick it.
not enough.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I think the Spider-Man 2 did a really good job of not using music a lot of the time. Like the burning building scene, no music there. It's just the crackling of the fire, and I think that's really good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So like overall, I think I liked how it was used in the Raimi version, but the music itself was good in Amazing.
Yeah.
Even before you and I voted, Amazing won.
Amazing wins.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
I
personally.
really don't. And I know that's going to get some hate.
Yeah.
But like I went into this, like I referenced the whole Judge Dredd situation.
Yeah.
Like my whole life, like having Joe as a mentor and everything, it was always just like Spider-Man 2 is like the pinnacle of like a comic book movie. And honestly, when I came back, I mean, I watched both these movies twice. I watched them both, and then I did a second watch to just like do notes, right? But this time I'm looking for things that I caught the first time. And yeah, like there was a point of me that I was like, man, Spider-Man 2 didn't age well with me. Like, because as a kid, that's all we had. We had that and Blade and the X-Men movies. And so like I did love these Spider-Mans as a kid. But then watching the Amazing Spider-Mans where I've actually read stuff and Joe's given me things, it's like you start to kind of build this idea of like what Spider-Man is to you in your mind. And so like I'm cool with that Amazing one. That's why I wore the Amazing Spider-Man shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Spider-Man 2 is still great. I think it is a stronger movie altogether, but I like a lot of the individual things in Amazing more. And I think those things are enough for it to pull forward for me personally. Now, objectively, it's probably not as good.
Yeah.
The science maybe didn't add up this time.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's a Judge Dredd situation where you didn't think this movie was going to pull ahead kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we have No Way Home because it definitely, man, it gives you some closure on stuff and really, because like let's be real, like towards the end of the movie, like Andrew Garfield's that moment where he catches Mary Jane, like that was probably one of the biggest emotional beats of that whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I cried,
Mm-hmm.
like just lost it, right?
It's-
But what will always make him really appealing and have my appreciation as a Spider-Man fan is that reel of like there's like a lady walking down, and Spider-Man's like on the wall, and like she like hands him some money, and he like jumps off the wall, and he's like, yeah, and he takes his mask
And
off.
it's Andrew
It's
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. I'm like, he just
He loves the character.
there's that.
so
You can
much.
see the
Yeah.
appreciation he has for the character, and I feel like if I met these guys in real life, he'd be really cool. Tobey Maguire's terrifying.
He hates people. He's a
Like
goblin.
if you are near him, do not get your phone out.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely like surprised and torn about it because I thought for sure
Well, I came in being
Toby
like,
was gonna be like,
yeah, I was like, Spider-Man 2 as a movie, I think is going to edge out amazing. But the way the categories are,
right.
Yeah.
So you can see I wrote down spice and all this stuff. Like I came into this
Oh
with
yeah,
knowing.
we should give these spikes.
That's what I was gonna say next
but-
is we got
But I
we got
came into this knowing I preferred this movie more.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think it was gonna win. like going into this, my whole thought process was like, all right, he's young enough. I may have him on my side.
Uh-huh.
And so like there was multiple points where I was like, okay, and so like
yeah.
I feel like if we had gone deeper, like so, let's say we go better Mary Janes or like not Mary Janes,
Love interest?
No, better Aunt May's.
oh
Okay.
Right.
Oh, I forgot to write that character down.
Sam
Well,
Raimi.
it's okay, but like the Raimi is definitely pulling ahead in that, and I'm sorry, but like we
Don't apologize. It's
we
Sam
see so
Raimi.
yeah. There's,
But we did Aunt May when we did the first Spider-Man battles.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember who won.
I don't
It
even-
should have been Sam Raimi.
Yeah, probably.
It had to have been.
And
don't
realistically, you know, you talk about his parents. Like, I know that there's some connection to everything,
Yeah.
but for the most part, like that's just wasted stuff. Like
Yeah.
you could exclude it from the movie, and it wouldn't change the movie.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think
Like-
all
like-
of the
Yeah.
Harry stuff and all of the parent stuff could have been cut from the movie, and that makes it instantly better.
Yeah.
Which is the main thing for me. Like, I love a lot of what the movie could be, but
This
not
is-
what it
and
actually
that's
is.
one of the
And
reasons.
That's what hurts. the
That's one of the
most.
reasons when we talk about Harry. Like that's why my vote went for Franco, because if he's out of the movie, it changes it.
Yeah.
If he's in the movie, then it makes sense. The other guy,
It
take him out of the movie,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But because there was a lot of scenes in Amazing that were really, really good, but just all putting them all together, it was like it's not that great of a movie.
It just doesn't work as well as the other movie.
but it does. It won. It won.
And you know what? I feel like this should be a point to Raimi again, right? Like, if you're talking about like how you put them together and they don't work quite as well, that's a directorial thing.
Right. Yeah, and he won the better director,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
yeah.
So-
but when you look at the parts individually,
Separately, yeah.
absolutely.
But I know he
Okay.
can do it. So like I think that's why they brought him back for Doctor Strange too. Like Sam Raimi needs to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Like clearly, like because he can do a good superhero movie. I like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like I just like that kind of how you do Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But Sam Raimi is. I mean he's.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like Raimi was very heavily responsible for the writing as well,
Yeah.
right? I don't know that you can give that same credit to Webb. And when you look at Spider-Man 3, why is it so awful?
You took a
Studio
lot of it
intervention.
away
Yeah, they
from
went
him.
back
Yeah.
and finished what he started, and I
Yeah.
think that's a real
They
shame.
wanted Topher Grace, and no one did.
Very weird.
Him, Paul Giamatti, they should make a team of
Yes.
worst.
So
Sinister
yeah, the
Six.
terrible characters.
Sinister Six Exiles.
You could bring Ryan from The Office. He can be Smythe or whatever his name.
Oh
is.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
all
he
the
was-
terrible characters that like just appeared randomly.
uh-huh.
Oh, man.
Have
Yeah.
Connors from
From
Sam
the-
Raimi. He's
Yeah.
Lizard
Oh, we didn't
now.
even
I
talk
did-
about him.
I did make a note. I was like, lame Kirk Connors versus like
Lame Harry.
Huh?
Just make a movie called Lame Spider-Man.
No, it'll be Superior Foes.
There you go.
That's one of my. It's like parallel with Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like all of these D-list Spider-Man villains that were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, we're gonna be the Sinister Six."
That sounds
now.
like a James Gunn project.
He's
Suicide Squad,
he's
yeah.
DC now. No, you can't get that.
Yeah. Well, let's
Marvel
wrap
was
up.
like-
Let's do
Marvel was
the.
really mean to him, and he was like, "Okay."
Yeah,
I'll still
bye.
make money over here.
Yeah. Let's do a spice meter on the movies,
Close it out.
and then we'll close it out. Yeah. So you've already got yours written down.
Yeah. Okay. So, and again, I feel safer now that I know Amazing 1. So Spice Meter with Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm gonna give it a 75.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect, right? There's little things where I'm like, I wish you could have took that out, or but it was definitely, it hit me at a time where I didn't know I liked Spider-Man, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna give it a 75. High watchability. I mean, once, maybe twice a year, me and my wife will watch these. And again, she likes Gwen, so that's a little to it. But high watchability, where Spider-Man 2, I'm going to give it a 65. It's just a little lower. Still great movie. There's nothing wrong with it. I will definitely watch it if it's on. But in recent years, I can't remember a time where I chose to put it on.
Yeah, you said that it just didn't age well for you.
Yeah. And so, but not a bad movie.
Mine is going to be like nostalgia speaking. Like I'll give Amazing Spider-Man a 68, right? And then nostalgia, I'm going to give Spider-Man 2 a 70.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like a 65 is super low. Very disrespectful.
Hey man, you couldn't tell the difference between half the characters, so like, I feel like it's okay, man.
What do you say?
All right, so I am going to say for Spider-Man 2 a solid 90% spice. I think both of these are good.
That's nostalgia goggles right there.
Yeah,
Serious,
you're
man.
just a Spider-Man fan.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi specifically. I think amazing is 120 spice.
Okay.
I think, I think because there's stuff that I would take away from the movie to make it better. That's what makes it over spiced to me. They add there's too much stuff happening in the movie.
Okay.
And it clutters all of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's. So what are the scores again?
120 for amazing.
Okay.
90 for Spider-Man.
For
2.
Spider-Man 2.
I just love Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, that's real high. I think for Spider-Man, at least for me, Spider-Man 2 with Tobey, I would give probably an 80% spice. It's good spice.
Probably more.
Not enough. A lot of it has to do with MJ, Harry.
Oh, yeah. 85. Never mind.
So yeah, there was a lot of cons with just those two characters. Yeah. So about an 80 for me. Okay. Amazing. A lot of good scenes, man. Yeah. A lot of good scenes, which very good spice right there. It tastes real good. But it just there's stuff that took away from that spice. Yeah. I don't know if it's adding too much or not enough to those particular characters to make it good.
Just underdeveloped.
Yeah. I think that's more of what it is rather than they just added too much. I think it's just not enough on those characters. So I give that one a 73.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to what I gave it.
Pretty close to
So
not.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, on this one, yes, you are.
Okay, this one. Okay. I was a kid, man. Like, come on now.
So yep, that's our votes. You guys feel free to tell us what you guys think, and join us for the next battle, which was who? Brian Tyler.
Yes, Tyler Bates.
Tyler Bates
versus Bernard Herrmann.
Bernard Herrmann. Yeah, and do we know what movie we're doing next? Which movie?
So, as it's going to be December, most likely when the next episode releases, we are going to be battling Grinch movies.
Jim Carrey versus Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're just not even going to do the classic?
No, because they would win.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Plus, it's like
a short episode.
Yeah, isn't it like 45 minutes?
That's enough for a Grinch story, I feel like. When your daughter wants to watch it continually, that's enough.
Sure. That's definitely...
Like, yeah, we have time for one movie before bed, and we just throw that one in there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
She's obsessed with the Grinch.
All right, well, that's next. So it's our Christmas episode. The Grinches battle each other, and the Composer battle, and whatever else we can fit in there. Yeah. Join us on our socials again, Facebook and Instagram, the Room Upstairs podcast. If you are listening, find us on YouTube also. And if you're watching, listen to us.
Yeah.
And we thank our guest for being here.
Oh, I love being here.
It's been an honor.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime. Maybe when you write your next big hit, we'll have you back on.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys. Amazing Spider-Man wins.
Rightfully.
Let us know on that.
Sonya Blade.
That's fandom for you. Just throwing all the catchphrases at the wall.
Avenge me.
I'm old.
Avenge me.
All right, we'll see you guys.
This week we're going to talk about that new Andre 3000.
Oh yeah, the flute album.
Yeah.
Oh.
You got a new album?
Yeah, he's not rapping. He's just playing the flute.
Are you serious? Oh, I don't know if this
That's
is
for real. That's for real.
He had like a Cartoon Network show for a while.
Did he?
Yeah, where he was like the main guy with like a group of kids. It was very like Magic School Bus-esque.
I feel like that. I feel like I saw that.
Like,
Yeah.
What about Hey Ya made you think this was appropriate?
Yeah, they were like they saw that and was like, what if this guy babysit our kids? Like, would that not? Yeah, and here he is, just like, you know,
Yeah.
like I remember it, man. I remember getting off the school bus and like, what is this? Like it's like a fever dream.